What is biochemistry? Biochemistry is the application of chemistry to the study of biological processes at the cellular and molecular level. So in biochemistry, we are using application of chemistry to understand the biological processes both at molecular and cellular level. But interestingly, biochemistry and molecular biology is the area that integrate or that borrow the applications of other area or that borrow some other sciences in order to make the course to be more applicable and interesting. These courses include chemistry, biology, mathematics, and physics. And that is why biochemistry sometimes seems to be very difficult, because if you lack background in chemistry, biology, mathematics, and physics, there is a likelihood that you may have problem with understanding biochemistry. Like the application of chemistry in biochemistry, it's actually involved in providing. So chemistry provides method and molecular knowledge in biochemistry, while biology provides relevance and context, while physics provide physical models, while mathematics provide the means to analyze and predict the biological processes. So it is very, very important to understand that understanding biochemistry require to have a thorough knowledge in the area of chemistry, biology, physics, and mathematics. And in fact, most of the students are facing challenges in understanding biochemistry because the lack understanding of these basic sciences. And very interestingly, biochemistry is one of the courses in life sciences that help in unraveling the life itself, because in biochemistry we are trying to study life at molecular levels. We are trying to use the molecules in order to understand how life processes are taking place. So biochemistry is very, very important, and that is why if you really want to understand life, it is very, very important to understand the aspect of biochemistry. Because if you check biochemistry from undergraduate level, MSc level, and PhD level, all what we are doing is trying to understand life at a cellular level. So everything we are doing in biochemistry is on that side. So it is very, very interesting to understand that biochemistry is a core area in both life sciences and medical sciences, because if you have the basic knowledge and understanding of biochemistry, it will help you to unravel the knowledge in physiology, the knowledge in anatomy and pharmacology. So who is biochemist? A biochemist is a person who study biochemist, or is a person who study biochemistry. And of course, biochemists use the knowledge of DNA, protein, carbohydrates, and lipids to understand the life itself. Of course, DNA, proteins, carbohydrate, and lipid, they are the biomolecules that mostly biochemists study. In fact, some of the biomolecules that biochemists study are proteins, and proteins encompasses a lot of things, including hormones, enzymes. So these biomolecules, when you take them together all, it will give you a good idea of understanding cells. And whenever you understand cells, so you understand life, because life is rely on cells. If there is no cells, then there is no life. So now we are going to look at the branches of biochemistry. We are starting with cellular biochemistry, and in this branch of biochemistry focuses on the chemical processes within cells. And these chemical processes include studying how cells produce energy, store and use nutrients, and how they use and maintain their structure. So actually, a cellular biochemistry is actually trying to study how chemical processes that are taking place in the body, including how the cells produce energy, and how the body store and use the nutrient, and how they produce and maintain their structure of the cells. And of course, it's important. And then another branches of biochemistry is medical biochemistry. So medical biochemistry is a branch of medicine or branch of biochemistry that incorporates biochemistry and metabolism in human and disease. So of course, in medical biochemistry, it is just trying to integrate biochemistry and metabolism in human and diseases, because of course we can have some disease due to some problem of some one or two enzymes in metabolic pathway. So that is why a medical biochemist are always trying to see how biochemistry and metabolism are incorporated in humans and diseases, so that to make sure that if there is any problem, they apply the knowledge of biochemistry, or they apply the knowledge of some techniques to solve the disease problem. And another branch of biochemistry is molecular biochemistry. This branch look at the structure and the functions of biomolecules such as proteins, DNA, and carbohydrate, and it include understanding how these molecules carry out biochemical reaction and how they interact. So generally in living organisms we have molecular biology. So in molecular biology, three biomolecules are very important, especially proteins and nucleic acid. So remember, DNA converted to produce RNA, and then the RNA produce proteins through the central dogma of molecular biology. And you know that the function and the structure of each and every cell is due to proteins. So molecular biology is just trying to look at how the proteins and DNA are interrelated with the functions of the living system. So the next branch of biology is metabolic biochemistry. So metabolic biochemistry is a branch of this branch focuses on the chemical reactions in the body to maintain life, and it includes studying energy production, nutrient metabolism, and detoxification. So generally in metabolic biochemistry, it is just trying to identify or focuses on the chemical processes that are taking place in the body in order to maintain life. Like for example, in living organisms, there are thousands of reactions that are taking place in the body. In 1 minute, there are over 30,000 reactions that are taking place in the body, and all those reactions is to ensure that all life processes are taking place successfully. And of course, it includes the energy that are produced, the nutrients that are produced, and also the detoxification processes. And these metabolic pathways, they are interrelated and they are interconnected with one another. Like for example, we have carbohydrate metabolism, nucleic acid metabolism, protein metabolism, amino acid metabolism, and lipid metabolism, but they are all integrated. The major aim of all these metabolic pathways is to make sure that all the life processes, all the nutrients that are needed are produced at a required time and the required amount. Another branch of biochemistry is biochemical genetics. This branch investigates the roles of genes in biochemical processes. It includes understanding how genes are involved in synthesizing proteins and other biomolecules and how they function. So of course, in a genetics, we know that genetics is a study of heredity and variation. So in a genetics, understanding genes is very important, because a genes is the structural and the functional unit of heredity. And of course, each and every gene is responsible for synthesizing a particular proteins and some other biomolecules in order to maintain function. Another branch of biology of biochemistry is structural biochemistry, and this area of biochemistry is aimed to understand the chemical architecture of biological macromolecules, especially proteins and nucleic acid. And of course, when we said nucleic acid, it means DNA and RNA. It is one of the main branches of biochemistry. So it is very important to understand that structural biology or structural biochemistry is trying to understand the structure and the architecture of proteins and nucleic acid. That actually will help in understanding how the proteins interaction, nucleic acid proteins interaction, nucleic acid and other molecules interaction. Then another branches of biochemistry is enzymology, and this actually studies the behavior of biological catalysts or enzymes, such as certain proteins or specific catalytic RNA and coenzymes and cofactors such as metals and vitamins. So generally in enzymology is actually a branch of biochemistry that deals with the study of enzymes. And of course, enzymes, 99.99% of enzymes are proteins, while very few are catalytic RNA. So we have very few that are RNA in nature. So in enzymology, we are trying to study the protein molecules The enzymes that are proteins, those that are RNA, they are coenzymes and cofactors such as metals and vitamins. Then the next one is biotechnology. What is biotechnology? Biotechnology is the use of biology to develop new product, methods, and organisms intended to improve human health and society. So generally in biotechnology, a new product, method, and organisms are generated using a biological system. So when you said biological system, you can use cells, you can use part of the cells, you can use the whole organisms to produce your product of desired interest. Like for example, the insulin that we are injecting for diabetes patient is a product of biotechnology. The genetically modified organisms that we are producing is also a product of biotechnology. The next one is nutritional biotechnology, biochemistry. So in nutritional biochemistry is trying to investigate the mechanisms underlying this interaction between nutrition or diet and diseases. So generally there are some diseases. So the main thing in nutritional biochemistry is actually trying to understand the interaction between our diet or our nutrient and the disease.